And we're live. Spiritual Talk. It's Wednesday. Another great guest. Here we go again.
It's 8 p.m. It's Spiritual Talk, and here we go. Welcome everybody to Spiritual Talk.
Welcome. Good evening. How you doing, Paul?
I'm good, mate. How are you? It's Wednesday.
Very well, thanks. It is. It's Wednesday. It's another lovely guest coming on soon as well.
Yeah, we've got a great guest this week, haven't we?
Yeah.
This is also, mate, number 70 in our interviews.
It's unbelievable, mate.
Yeah.
How many lovely guests we have on here.
Yeah.
And it's number 70.
Yeah, and such a diverse range as well that we've got on our YouTube pages, guys. If you want to jump on and have a look at some of our past interviews, they really are worth watching.
Yeah, definitely do that.
It is a privilege interviewing these wonderful people, and tonight is no exception. We've got another great medium.
Yeah,
his name is Paul Humpries, and he's based, I believe, in Lincolnshire. And you've seen this gentleman on the internet working. I've seen some clips of him, but I'd be lovely to get to know him better tonight. So without further ado, let's get him in on the stream. Good evening, Paul, and welcome.
Evening, Paul. Welcome to Spiritual Talk.
Thank you very much for having me, and good evening, everybody.
Lovely to see you. So, Paul, with Spiritual Talk, we kind of want to know about you as a person as well as what you do with your gift. We'd like to know how it started for you. How did you become a medium?
Wow, it's not exactly a thing that I consciously decided that today I want to be a medium.
Yeah.
Since being a little boy, I was about 2, maybe 3 years old, and when you're so young, you don't really understand there's a spirit world and you don't really fully understand things. But I remember having conversations with my mother about various events that I felt was a part of my life. And what I was describing was a property that I thought I used to live in. And I described this house. And I used to say to my mother, used to put me out in that big blue pram in the back garden. And it's one of those old Silver Cross prams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my mother went white and she froze. And she says, what else can you tell me? She says, well, you used to put me in that garden. You used to have that great big hole in the fence. Well, she started going even more whiter. And as the years have gone on, she was telling me about what I used to say to her. And the house I was describing was a house that they lived in before I was born. And the pram that I'm describing that I felt that I belonged to was actually my brother who passed before I was born. And he passed at 6 months old and in a cot death. And so I think that at that time I was channeling my little brother, not realizing, because you don't really fully understand when you're 2, 3 years old. You just see it as it is. And so that was my very first experience. And then I used to see people coming into my bedroom as a child, my grandfather, my grandmother, etc., etc. And then for a big period of time, it stopped. It just stopped. And when I got into adulthood and I became a father and got married, had children, so forth and so forth. And when I first started working as a manager in the industry, I remember coming home from work and I'd sat there with the laptop. I was about 28 at the time. And I'm sat there with a laptop working and I fell asleep on the sofa. And when I woke up in the morning, we had a fascination with candles, me and Penny, that's my wife. Fascination with candles, and we loads of them around the room. When I woke up in the morning, all the candles had been removed. There was taken out the candelabras, and it was placed around the sofa like a semicircle. Well, I absolutely freaked out. Yeah. I screamed the house down. Wow. I blamed my wife. She's saying, I've nothing to do with it.
How did your wife go, by the way? Did she scream as well?
Well, not at the time, because she was in bed upstairs.
Oh,
so
okay.
I just dragged her down. I says, have you done this? You've been playing a joke on me? She went, no. So I was obviously getting quite frightened. I blamed the children. Now, the children, there was about 3 or 4. Do you know what I mean? It's not kind of thing they're going. I even blamed the dog. I blamed everything. And that was a real kind of kick to me to think something's not quite normal.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The stuff as a child, I'd actually forgotten about. You know, as you go through life and you get your experiences, it kind of becomes a distant memory and you forget. It was only through my mother reminding me what had happened when I was a child that things started to flood back. And then a few months had gone past and there was nothing else that happened. And I was laid in bed and something was feeling my arm on the side here. And I thought, hey up, the missus, you know, middle of the night. Look, my luck's in tonight, guys. And it wasn't. She was faced the other way, asleep. And I could feel this rubbing on the other side of me. And I turned around and said, who's that? And I heard this voice as clear as day go, it's me, Paul. It's me. Well, I screamed again. I really scared me, that did, to hear it. And then it was happening like an everyday occurrence, that there was something going off. Either I was hearing something or seeing something in the bedroom, to the point where I started questioning my own sanity, that I'm going crazy, something's not right. And it started then to really frighten my wife, thinking my husband's going through some kind of psychotic episode. Yeah. So she did a bit of research and she stumbled across a spiritualist church. And she said, Paul, I want to take you to this church, this spiritualist church. I think they can help you. And I said to Penny, there's no way on this earth you are taking me to a church. They'll throw holy water at me. Do you know what I mean? I had no idea. I didn't even know about mediums and psychics, fortune tellers, etc. I had no knowledge of them. And it took some time to really encourage me to take me. So I agreed. And she took me to the local spiritualist church in Grimsby. And as I went through the doors, there was this warmth, this feeling of this belongingness. Yeah. And I said to Penny, there's a really strange feeling I'm getting, almost like a deja vu feeling. And I went, I'm sure I've been in this building before. We hadn't, but it was a feeling, this welcoming feeling, and I didn't quite understand it. And we sat in this circle. Now I know it's called an open circle. I'm sat in this circle, and there's other mediums giving little readings off. And I thought, Penny, this is what I do, isn't it? She went, yeah, it is, Paul. So I thought, put my hand up, and I had a little go. And there was this lady sat there, and I said to her, oh, your Auntie Elizabeth stood behind you, and she used to own a pub. And that's all I gave off. That's all I had. And this lady, she burst into tears. She was crying her eyes out, and I nudged my wife and said, I'm not doing this again. Obviously, I've said something to offend her. And she came to me at the end of the evening. She said to me, Paul, she said, I have waited years and years and years to hear from this lady. And my Auntie Elizabeth actually brought me up. It wasn't my mother, it was my auntie. And I knew then at that point, this is something that I need to be doing. And somebody was of earshot of that conversation, said, can I book you for a private reading? I went, what's a private reading? They went, what you've just done. I thought, okay, I'll give it a go. So I went to their house and I did them a little reading. And she said, can I tell my friends? Yeah, sure, go for it. So she told her friends. And then I read for them. They told their friends. They told their friends. And before you realize, this whole thing opens up. And I was working as a manager at the time. And, you know, it started to evolve to the point where I had to go part-time. And then ultimately I left work. So it wasn't a conscious decision that today I want to be a medium. It's just something that has evolved through the years. Yeah. And that's where I am today. So I've been working spiritually full-time now for about 8 years and been working as a medium for about 12 years. So it's quite a short journey so far.
Yeah, but
a long time coming.
Yeah, but you say that, I guess you've defined yourself at that 8 years, but actually what you're saying is from a child, you was that medium anyway. So I was going to say also, there's some people that will be out there tonight that their children have these experiences. Was there something that created fear, do you think, that you shut down a little bit to the experiences you're having, so it suddenly stopped, do you think? Or And what would you advise people that are listening with their children?
Sorry, Paul, can you pass that by me
Yeah,
again?
so a lot of people out there that I know a few people out there that their own children are having their own experiences, are seeing spirit.
Yeah.
Is this something, because of what you said in your journey, because you were talking about getting upset when you saw spirit in your adult life, do you think there was a cut-off point where, as you were growing as a child, that you became fearful of an experience?
That's a very interesting question, that, Paul. I mean, as a child, I even, through conversations that I've had with family, and said, do you remember when you were 7 years old and you was part of a seance? I totally forgot that. And I couldn't believe they brought a medium into the house and was doing a seance, and I was given information at 7. But then I don't have any memories after that until I was in my adult years. But my childhood was quite a difficult one. And I think it may have kind of blocked a little bit till they thought I was ready to take this on.
Yeah.
So it kind of just stopped automatically.
But were your parents sympathetic of what you were saying? Your mum, or was she okay with what she was, would telling her? Or
well, my mother, she suffers a lot with anxieties, and from losing my brother, she's always struggled with that. And for me to give that kind of information really scared her.
Yeah.
And my father, well, okay, I don't really want to discuss my father, who's not the most spiritual person, let's say.
Yeah.
I mean, he would have never believed in anything. So I remember my mum saying to him, this is what Paul's done, this is what Paul's done, and what he's seen in his life, didn't want to know. So I don't know if that caused that block from one of the parents, not giving you that support. And but I've always found if the spirit world want to work with you, they'll find a way to work with you, no matter what.
Yeah, great.
So, but in terms of people's children, I've come across so many myself. It's a beautiful gift. It can be very scary, but when you get an understanding that this is a beautiful thing and it's not really scary, I think it helps a lot to give that kind of encouragement to children that, what they're saying to you, and rather than saying, oh, there's no such thing, or, ghosts are scary, because then it will cause fear to them.
Yeah.
So I think keeping their minds positive, and I didn't really have that as a child.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah, no, Paul, I just want to say, your story is similar to mine in growing up, and having that understanding from young, and having supportive parents, even though there was an unsureness, let's say, from them as well. Can you remember any other sort of unique stories after your childhood, from what you've explained from a childhood, like where you're sitting now and your experiences, which we'll touch base on, but can you understand or remember any other things that have happened after that point to make you question or make you more interested from that point onwards?
I mean, as part of my process,
your growing up period,
growing up period, crikey.
But did it become? I mean, from my own experience, I become a bit. I remember being sensitive as a kid, but got into my teenage years, and it kind of shut down. It wasn't until I went into my 20s.
Correct. Same for me.
And
right.
Mine was slightly different. I had a brain tumor, and after recovering, things started to happen after that, about a year or so after that. So for me, it was going through a traumatic experience that unlocked it.
So it's really interesting, because as I look back in hindsight at some of the points of my life, I start to see a lot of synchronities. I start to see things happening around my life, centered around it, that I needed those experiences to enable me to do what I'm doing now, as I'm looking back in reflection, like being in the right place at the right time, meeting these kind of people. That's given me the knowledge, the wisdom, and the experience to bring me where I am now. I mean, such as like, I remember, and again, it's just little pieces that I have still done, but I've not been conscious of the fact that, hey, I'm a medium, because I never knew I was a medium. I didn't even know what a medium was. It's like I remember playing around with tarot cards. I was only about 13 with my friend, and my friend's mum was a spiritualist. Again, I didn't really understand what that meant. You just used to say she's a witch. And we sat there playing with tarot cards, and we was doing a reading from them. And I'll never forget this. My friend said to me, "Hey, Paul, you are going to go marry young and you will have 3 children." And I didn't really think much about it. And then the first job that I did, I met the love of my life. And I turned around and looked her in the eyes as the first meeting. I said to my friend, "See her there?" He went, "Yes, that's the one I'm marrying." And I did. And
Wow.
it's really bizarre, but please don't laugh. The first job that I had was actually a bingo caller. Okay, is to do bingo in the professional halls.
Yeah.
And as I look at that now, and I feel spiritually drawn to the fact I was meant to be there, one, for meeting my wife, and secondly, for the experience of being amongst that amount of people, being on the stage and delivering. And as I look back at it, I thought I needed that experience, even though it's a bit of a daft job, but I needed it.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Part of the process.
That's really interesting, Paul, as you say that, because our viewers who are watching tonight can also then start to open their minds up with what you've just said from their own life. And I always say, one of my sayings is, look back over your shoulder and then you see where you've come from, you know.
And as I went through life, Anthony, as I went through life as well, I went through working in a bingo hall, and I absolutely changed my life. I left there to work in a fish factory in Grimsby. We're quite renowned for the industry of fish, as you probably know. Yeah. So I worked in a factory, and I worked in a factory for many, many years. And I remember me and my wife, she was on one side of the line and I was on the other side, and was packing fish. And I just had this epiphany, this moment of, Penny, we're more than just this. We're more than this. We've always been kind of brought up, both Penny and I, through schooling, through peers, for them to say you would never amount to anything. That's what we was told. And I truly believed that. So I took the most mundane jobs because I was always told this is what you'll amount to. So I had this real moment, of this inspiring thought to quit, just to quit. So I said to Penny, "Come on, put your gloves down, we're going." She went, "What do you mean we're going?" So we're going to go get an education. We're going to go get an education, and we're going to see if we can do something with our lives. And she went, "Are you sure?" I went, "Let's do it." So we went back into education when we got our GCSEs, our maths, our English, and so forth and so forth, and business kind of things we was doing. Within 18 months of quitting, my wife ended up being a manager in the council, and I ended up becoming a manager in the industry. Just from that little moment of putting this new thought process, I can be anything I want.
Yeah.
And that itself, as I look back at it, was a real spiritual moment. And I started to realize there's more than just this physical body. You know, we're more than what people say about us, that they say, "Hey, you are this person, this is what you're capable of." And I started to realize there is more about us. So all this was part of this process. And then as I went through the years, and I ended up being a manager in 3 different industries, and I got made redundant in the last 2. And I was at rock bottom. I thought, oh my word, we've come this far in life. This is it. And I had this real moment, this real moment. And I screamed, I cried, and I was given so much emotion and love to God. I said, "God, please help me. I will do anything. Anything you want me to do, I will do. I will be your kind of servant, so to speak. I want to do something great." And this is no word of a lie. Within 24 hours, there was boom, 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 boom in at me. It's almost as if I put it out there to say, "I'm ready." Yeah. I'm ready. Yeah. Even though I've had all those experiences through my life, it was that point where I really put it out there, and it was happening all the time. All the time.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Can we just put Sharon out of her misery, because she says, "I'm not the only one seeing that smoke in Paul's room."
It's an incense.
Yeah. I think she might have saw the message earlier.
Yeah, hopefully she hasn't called the fire brigade. So we got some great questions actually. Rhonda asked a good question earlier.
Lovely.
Do any of you 3 guys worry that your gift will stop?
Of course. It's always in the back of your thoughts. You know, are they ever going to come through? I mean, a demonstration that I do, I suffer quite hard with nerves every time.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if it's a private reading or I'm doing a demonstration in a spiritualist church or an event. And there's always that fear in the back of your mind. What if they don't come through?
Yeah.
I've been very fortunate that that's never happened, but it is a fear.
Yeah.
I had a chat with a gentleman, very well known TV medium. His first name begins with a T. I'm not going to say anything else, but he said to me he was doing a demonstration for an audience of about 100 people. Nothing came. And he said, and nothing came.
Really?
And he said, we ended up doing a question and answer session. He said, and the audience loved it. But that is a fear of mine.
I was very lucky to work with D a few times.
Ah, okay. Well,
yeah,
yeah. Well, that's cool. I'd love to work. I've demonstrated in front of them. That's quite intimidating back in the day. But it is one of the fears in my mind that you stand up, because you stand up to represent spirit. And what if they're not there? You know, what if they don't come that night? So, yeah, I mean, that has its own nervous energy that can make demonstrating, tiring, exhausting. So do you find, Paul, when you're demonstrating, you get a high afterwards and you come down? Because I've noticed when I go into spirit, they just give you this beautiful energy, the love. And I wish that's probably my biggest thing in my mediumship, is that I wish I could get across the love that I'm feeling. I'm not sure how to do that. But all we can do is try to voice it and present it. But
absolutely.
Yeah.
So for me, it's quite a fear. Yeah. But there's another one here. I've got another one here. Last one from Carol. That's a good question, Carol. Have your children had any experiences?
Yes, they have. My daughter, it scares my daughter. She's another one that suffers with a lot of anxieties and things, and it does scare her. But I've started to notice that my granddaughter Lily, she's 8, and she's starting to talk to them. So it's been passed down, and I will be spending time with her and helping her on that journey. But yes, my son, he has a few experiences. My wife as well. She has experiences, but certainly my daughter does, and my granddaughter.
Do you feel it is? Do you feel it is a passing down kind of process for people, a gift in that sense?
I'm not sure. I mean, there's lots of families that do say that they've inherited from their great grandmother or something. Perhaps. But I wasn't aware of anybody in ascendance to me that had the ability, unless they kept stumped about it. I don't know. But a lot of my grandparents passed when I was a little boy, so I don't have a great deal of knowledge about them. But certainly from my point, going downwards in descendants, there's definitely a trend there.
Right.
Definitely.
Yeah, Sharon's put, thank you for answering her question. Okay, where are we now? Anyone else in your family got the gift? We've done that one, haven't we?
Yeah.
How does it make you feel to have a gift you've got? How does it make you feel?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, gift is not the kind of word I would use for myself personally. But one thing I always feel from this is a sense of fulfillment, a sense of love, to see somebody's face when they've got a connection with their loved one. It can just be so overwhelming, and it's just so beautiful. And I feel very blessed and very honored to be able to deliver that for them. It's hard to comprehend. It's hard to put into words how I feel about it. But I do feel very lucky and very blessed.
Yeah.
It's a hard one to answer that.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I was just going to say, how do you work, Paul? Is it more sort of subjective when spirit come to you when you're doing a platform demonstration, or how does it work for you in your own unique way of working with spirit?
Okay, so when they work with me, predominantly, I will see things. I will see their energy. I'll see that energy outside of me, and they tend to go to the person or very close where I need to be in my link. Yeah. Then I will see all kinds of imagery that they project to me, maybe what they've been through the life, what it was like as a person, some elements about the person I'm reading for. But I'm very lucky to be able to feel them as well. And there's so much in feelings that I pick up. I feel that the spirit's personality, you know, if there was a good person, bad person, etc., happy, awkward, we're all different. So I feel that personality. And in the feelings, I tend to always get the conditions in which they was faced in. I get to feel it on my body.
Yeah.
And I've learned over the years to translate what those feelings are. If it was a respiratory problem, or if it's a heart attack, if it's something that's quite tragic, I feel that as well. So I get those feelings, but I also get the feelings of the people I'm reading for as well. I get the emotional states, what they've been going through in their life, if they've had good times, bad times, etc., etc., and sometimes even their ailments, I will get to feel as well. Just as an example, last night, it felt as if I had metal in my leg. I've never had metal in my leg, but you just learn what that feeling is.
Yeah.
And the lady I was reading for, she had metal plates in her leg, metal pins. So I could literally feel her ailment. And also I'm very lucky to be able to smell and taste things as well. Now that one always fascinates me because over the years of working as a medium, I'm sure it's the same for you guys. So many people tell me about their experiences where they may smell something in their house, you know, a fragrance. And I've always found that the spirit world to be one of the most easiest things for them to do is just bring off just something very quick as a smell. So I smell and taste things too. And literally I can taste drinks. Please forgive me, like blood as well. Sometimes I taste blood.
Yeah.
And also I hear things as well. It may be like a few names that I heard, dates, sometimes full sentences, and sometimes even foreign languages I've heard as well that I've repeated back.
Yeah.
And also, if I'm really, really lucky, I'll get to see them just like I see you.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's happened a few times. Predominantly, I'll see the energy form.
Yeah.
And then I'll get all the information transmitted to me through the different senses. But sometimes I will see them like I see you. And then there's also times where I just know something. I just know it. I don't know where it's coming from. And I think they call that claircognizance, where you just have this inner knowingness. Like, I know that person's lost their brother. I know that person's just lost their dad.
Yeah.
I don't even know where it's coming from, but it's just coming straight out my mouth.
Yeah.
And that is absolutely fascinating. That is really
the one that always gets me is the stuff that comes out of your mouth and your brain's not even connected to it. So
correct. Correct.
Yeah.
It's almost as if that spirit entity just kind of tranced with you for that little moment. It's just comes straight out.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can get you into bother as well when it happens.
Yeah, that's true. Sharon is a good all-rounder. Absolutely. That's very rare. Absolutely. That is very rare. I personally went once, but my mediumship sounds very similar to yours, Paul. I personally went blind once in a demonstration. Only for about 4 seconds, but it really threw me off. And I didn't hear anything until I heard his voice saying, "I'm this lady's uncle. She cared for me before I went blind and then I passed." I'm like, "That's great, but please, I don't need to. Just tell me rather than demonstrating that."
There's been just one occurrence. I was doing a demonstration in my hometown in a community centre, and I'll never forget it as long as I live. It was probably the most frightening time I've ever had as a medium. This young spirit gentleman, I think it was about 20, 21, he literally came straight into my energy. And I had no control in what I'm saying. And I'm looking straight into this woman's eyes. The words are just coming out my mouth and I just can't help it. And I said to her, Mom, I've got my head back. I've got it back. I've got my head back, Mom. And I think it was tell Ellie, I'm really proud she's got my son. And when the lady, and then I literally collapsed. I collapsed. The energy was so intense. I had to sit down. It was too much for me. And at break, this lady come out and she said, Paul, my son, he laid on a railway line and the train went over his head. And his girlfriend at the time, it was supposed to be a suicide part, and she left him. She didn't do it. She lost her courage and she went, but she was pregnant. And I'll never forget that. Was the most, for me as a medium, that was the most frightening, but evidentially it's probably the most profound thing that I'd ever done.
So Zoe's just asked that very question. Do you think that was your favorite experience then? Although it's quite traumatic.
Favorite.
but beautiful as well. That the evidence that you've been able to give with that link was just unbelievably fantastic.
No wonder you didn't forget that.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. This. I mean, I could sit here all night and talk about all the various readings I've done, from the most, how would I put it into the words, the most horrific to the most beautiful.
Yeah.
And I mean, just as an example, there was this one gentleman, I think this is more the beautiful side. This one gentleman come to my house for a reading, and I said to him, I said, your dad's an alcoholic, isn't he? He went, yes, he is. I went, you need to go see that man. Apparently you've not spoke to him for 20 years. I went, I haven't. I said, you need to go see him. Well, he phoned me a week later and says, I took your words of advice and I went there, made it back up with my dad after 20 years, and 3 days after that he passed.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean? And he said, but he couldn't thank me enough. He said, you know, if I hadn't come for that reading at that point, I would have never had that opportunity to have those last moments with my dad, and he couldn't thank me enough.
Yeah.
And that's a very beautiful, and it just shows how amazing the spirit world can be. And I think another amazing point, another one that really sticks out into my thoughts, of the way they work, and you've probably had these kind of experiences before, guys, in a very indirect way. And I was doing an evening in a cafe this one, and there was this lady, and I said, my darling, there's a little boy here, he's about 5-6 years old, and he's called Jack. I think that's what his name was, Jack. And he's connected to, she went, I don't know what you're talking about. I really don't know what you're talking about. I says, bear with me, I'll go back and get a bit more information. So whilst I was questioning Jack, he said to me, he's your friend's, he's her friend's son. And she said, none of my friends have lost any boys. I went, right, okay. I said, you must take this information. Please do take it. And I'm sure at some point it will unfold. Yeah. Well, she booked me for a private reading. I didn't know. She booked for a private reading. She came to my house and she says, I've got something to tell you, Paul. I went, right, okay. And she said, you did this little reading for me, this little boy called Jack. I went, right, okay. And so she said, the very next day after that reading, I went to Tesco and I was doing my shopping. And this woman made a beeline for her at Tesco's and said, excuse me, dear. She went, yes. My son come to you last night, didn't he? And she went, right, is he called Jack? She went, that's him. She went, well, how do you know? And she said, in my dreams, my son came to me and told me to go to Tesco's and you'll bump into your old friend from school. And apparently they was old school friends.
Wow.
Wow. I got chills. I could not believe it. I was absolutely gobsmacked. And I felt, even though, and I say to people, information comes to you, hold on to it, because the spirit will know what they're doing. They really, really do. And that really showed the evidence of what can come through and the proof that life goes on.
Yeah.
And that to me is one of those ones that really, really, really stands out as those moments to go, wow, you know, I'm on the right path here.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So many stories like that I could tell you.
So when someone in the audience, Paul, says to you, no, kept saying no, it doesn't mean a no, does it? With your explanation there.
True. I mean, there's this one guy in the audience. This was hilarious. You'll find this hilarious. I brought his dad through, and he's like, "Oh, thank you so much." And he had tears rolling down his face. I did him his lovely 5-10 minute reading and all birthdays and things that we do. And I said to him right at the very end, I said, "Oh, your dad's called David, isn't he?" He went, "No." I thought, "Oh my God." There's about 100 people in this audience, and I could like digging myself an arm. I want to jump in it and let the world just swallow me in. He went, "Yeah, that's not my dad." And you could see his energy just go poof, like this.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, I've just done all this really wonderful work with him, and that's just really just thrown this curveball. So I thought, well, I'll leave that with you, and I moved on to the next one. You got to pick yourself up, move forward, take it on the chin.
Yeah.
And as I got halfway through that reading, I could see his girlfriend nudge him like this. I thought, what's going off here? And he had this moment. He said, "Can I just stop you?" I went, "Yes." He went, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." I said, "What's the matter?" He said, "My dad is called David. I just called him Dad."
Oh my gosh.
He says, "I just called him Dad." He says, "I forgot." Oh. But yeah,
simple as that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm just wondering, how do you forget your dad's name? That's all I'm thinking.
No.
Is that me?
Oh, I think it's that moment, like that school room syndrome, and the teachers go, answer this question, and you go, you're blank. And I think that's scotoma. I think they call it scotoma.
Yeah, you do, and people do especially when you give names. Names I find from an audience go, oh, I don't know the Jeff. Yeah, it was his. People don't know.
Yeah,
but we've got great questions coming in. We've got loads actually. Do you see your own family that's passed in spirit?
It's a very good question, and I'm quite happy to answer that one. When I was a little boy, I did explain I saw my nana and granddad, but through all the years, no. Absolutely not. Years and years and years and years and years I've gone past with not one family member coming through to me.
Okay.
However, 3 months ago, my stepfather, he was the one who raised me. Okay, my mum and dad parted when I was young, and he went off playing Happy Families. And my stepfather brought me up. He never believed in this. He thought, once you're in the ground, son. And then he came to see me demonstrate about a year before he passed away. And I remember him saying to me, he says, I still don't believe it, Paul, but what I saw in those people's eyes was the love. And I'm really proud of you. And I thought that was really nice for him to say. So I'm so proud that I could see you've changed people's lives. Even though I don't believe in it, I believe in you. And I thought that was wonderful. So he passed away 3 months ago now. He's still on my desk here, bless him. He passed away 3 months ago, and he passed away at 12:05 at night. I went to see him, held his hand, gave him a kiss, and sent him my love. And at 6 o'clock in the morning, as I got up, because I didn't sleep very well, I heard him as clear as I hear you guys. Just to let you know, I'm okay now. That's the first time since childhood that a family member's come through. So he must have knew how much that would mean to me and knew that he could come to me. So that made my day, because he's never believed. And to come to me, to give me that information, it just brought tears to my eyes. So now I can categorically say, yes, my family's been to see me.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've kind of answered Carol's question as well. Do they watch you work, your loved ones?
Yeah.
So, perfect. Thanks, Lou, for that question as well.
Good question.
Controversial question, possibly. Hi, Emily. Thanks for this question. Hi, Paul. Where do you see the movement going?
Oh.
And what changes have you seen during your service to spirit? Big one.
Okay. Yeah. I'll be very right. I'm going to do this. Let me think. What I have been seeing is a bit of dwindling in the spiritualist churches. They're not getting the numbers like they used to.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I feel, and I'm saying this with love in my heart and from the deepest of respect, if anybody is connected to spiritualist churches, that I feel some of them, not all of them, can be a little bit rigid, a little bit to the book. And I feel there needs to be some slight changes, a kind of a modernization a little bit.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'm starting to find a lot of the younger generation being quite interested in the movement.
Yeah.
And they go into the churches. They don't want to go to the Sunday service. They don't want to see the philosophy. They don't want to hear the prayers, the hymns. And a lot of people do still. But the younger generation, they don't want that. So I think the numbers are starting to drop and drop and drop and drop. And it's a real shame. The spiritual churches are beautiful. They really are. I love them so much. So I think there needs to be some slight changes, some slight modification that needs to be made to kind of bring a more full-rounded community together, because I would hate to think they'd shut the doors. And I've been seeing so many, especially through COVID, that have not been reopening. They just can't get the numbers back, and it's so sad.
But
sorry, Paul.
Yeah. So I was going to say the problem is as well. I mean, it's engaging with those younger members because we have the social media. It's a massive thing, and people get so easy. I mean, I include myself in that.
Sure.
You wake up in the morning. What's the first thing you do? You check your phone for messages. I mean,
of course.
And this is where you get taken into this whole social media world. So you kind of being taken away from what's out there. So I do believe the spiritualist movement needs to adapt and change to survive.
I think so.
So it's so difficult, and I'm trying to I just completely wholeheartedly agree with what you say.
Yeah. And I didn't want to kind of downgrade any church, because I absolutely love them, and I still work for the churches. I do many of them, at least one a week. And I still keep myself very, very much involved. And we go, Penny and I, we go all over. We don't just stay to our own town. We go to London. We've been to the Isle of Wight Spiritualist Church, Darwin, Blackpool. We do them all. We do them all.
But that's at your own expense. But people think,
absolutely.
oh gosh, it's like a celebrity lifestyle. No, it's not. You're going to get your petrol money.
Correct.
You're getting your petrol money. It doesn't even cover the wear and tear on your car.
I was over in the Blackpool area twice in 1 week, and that is basically a 6-hour round trip. Yeah. Twice in 1 week, and you know how much the fuel is now. We're getting £40 back or something. It's not a great deal, and but everything's about balance. You know, I do some events and things. I get paid for it, and then the spiritualist churches we're doing, and we're offering a service, and it kind of balances itself.
Absolutely, you're giving something back.
Absolutely.
But then also, social media could be a great thing. You know,
indeed.
I've seen so many people in even. I mean, I'm not bigging us up, but we're doing these interviews to try and get people to become interested in what we do and connecting to spirit and awaken them and just giving them as ideas. And there's a lot of people out there doing it. There's other people doing podcasts and stuff that are really interesting. So there is some good stuff coming out of social media. I just think it's about adapting and changing. And that's always been a difficult thing anyway. But I'll just hope the churches survive. Absolutely agree. Yeah. I do too. So Rhonda's asked a really good question. Hi, Rhonda. Do you have spirit guides? Do you have a relationship with your guides, Paul?
I do have a spirit guide, yes. I mean, when I was going through some forms of development in my early days, I did become aware of a guide. I know he's always there and helping me, and he tends to kind of organize things a little bit in the sense of if somebody were to come through into a reading where they may have treated that person very badly in life, he kind of steps in, and I know we've got a problem. Do you know what I mean? So he kind of is quite protective to me. So and I use him a lot when I'm doing meditations as well. So yeah, I do have a spirit guide.
Yeah. Also, have you ever? Oh, sorry, it's Serena. Hello, Serena. Have you ever had a connection that really stood out for you?
Crikey. It's just so many to name. Crikey. I'm trying to think of one that really stands out. God, there's so many. There's so many. It's such a tough one to answer.
I wasn't laughing at you, Paul. It's just someone's made a comment on here. I'm not sure. It's his Facebook user. It said, "My kids don't want to go to spiritualist churches because they have to sing."
I love singing. I love it.
We've all been there, though.
Absolutely. Oh, crikey. I'm just trying to think of a connection that really stands out. I tell you, I mean, there's so many. I could list so many off, but I'll give an example. I gave a couple earlier on, so I'll give another one. There was a young lady I read for a few years back now, and a mother came through in the reading. It was such a heartfelt reading, and I picked up in her reading that a mother passed away through alcohol and drug abuse, and she'd only been passed about 3 or 4 months at that time, so it was quite raw for the young lady. You could see she was grieving. You could see that she was struggling to comprehend it all and to understand that her mum is living on. So I said to her mother, "Is there anything you can do to really show your daughter that you've survived and you're still with her?" And she said to me, "Tell my daughter very soon she's going to see Mrs. Taylor, and it's going to be done in a way that she will never doubt that it's from her mother." So I gave this information off to her, and she said to me, oh, I don't know Mrs. Taylor. I went, okay, well, that's the name I've been given. And then she started to think a little bit more and a little bit more deep. She said, well, when I was a young child, a next door neighbour used to be Mrs. Taylor. My mum used to know her. I said, well, I'm not sure if that's the one. Yeah. Perhaps it is. But please remember what mum said. So a few years had passed, and this young lady, she came to one of my evenings and she stopped me and she said, "I need to speak to you, Paul, outside at break." I went, okay. So she spoke to me. She said, "You gave me this reading at my, I think it was her mother-in-law's house at the time. And she said, you said such and such to me about this Mrs. Taylor." And she said to me, On my mum's first anniversary, I went to her graveside and brought her some flowers. And she said, I just broke down, Paul. I broke down, went down to my knees, uncontrollable. And she felt this hand on her shoulder. And she heard somebody say, it's okay, darling. Everything's going to be okay. And when she turned around, it was Mrs. Taylor from her childhood.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
And she said, I now know there is no question my mum survives.
Yeah.
So that one for me is another one of those that really, really, really sticks out.
Yeah.
There is another one, but I don't know if I would be allowed to discuss it. I could do it maybe symbolically, I think. Would you want me to give another example?
Yes, please.
Yeah,
You're very okay. This is what I would say the more kind of, I'm not going to say darker, but it was one of those moments in my life where I wanted to give up as a medium.
Okay.
Because it affected me so badly. And I was given a lot of reassurance. And when I was going, I'm not doing this anymore. And people say, Paul, you're changing people's lives. Well, I'll start off. There was a young lady and a friend who came for a reading. And I'm not going to give any names on this one. I think it's important that I just keep this anonymous. And this young lady, as I was reading for her, said, my darling, your granddad showed me something and you need to pay attention to. What do you mean? I says, well, he's saying there's a little girl. She's about 4 or 5 years old and she's in real danger. She's in real danger. She looked at me really strangely. And she recorded this reading, by the way. She's recording it. And she says, oh, I don't know what you want about, Sir Paul. I said, well, this is for the future. She went, right. I said, well, I'm seeing your brother in handcuffs and I'm seeing his partner in handcuffs as well. And now she's really getting concerned. She's looking at me really strange, going, what on earth are you talking about? I said, well, this is what your granddad showed me. He says, I'm seeing heroin involved in this. And then she sat back and she went, well, hold on a minute. My brother's a heroin user, but he doesn't have a girlfriend. He doesn't have any children. I said, well, this is what I'm seeing. She went, right, okay. And the reading ended. She stopped and you could see in the look in her face that she wasn't very impressed and thought, this is a load of rubbish, this. What the earth is he talking about? And a few years had passed and she'd come back again. I didn't even recognize her. And she said, I said, have you had readings before, love? She said, yeah, I've been a few years ago. I thought, okay. So I started the process. Grandparents was coming down and all of a sudden there's this little girl comes walking into the room, into the atmosphere. And I says, there's a little girl there about 4 or 5 years old with this lady. She just went down to her knees and she started screaming. And she said, oh my God, Paul, she said, you read for me a few years ago and you told us what was going to happen. And we didn't believe you. My brother met this lady and he was a heroin user. The lady already had a child. And even then she said, we didn't even think about it. We didn't even give it a moment's thought. And that young lady ingested heroin. She got her hands on it and it ended up overdosing her. And unfortunately she lost her life. And that particular reading, that was in my very early days. I was only working as a medium for about a year. I was still in full-time work then. It was what I did on the evening. I made a decision. I'm not doing this no more. I cannot handle this. I cannot handle it. This is too heartbreaking because you start to kind of look at your life and go, could there have been anything that I could have done more? Could I have been a bit more convincing? Could I have been a bit more assertive? What else could I have done? Could I have changed this event? So you start blaming yourself as well, you know, and it's like, I was in pieces. I was broken. I was really broken. And I said, I'm not doing this anymore. And all my friends at work and colleagues said, Paul, but you're changing people's life. This is not your fault. This was out of your hands. You know, this has just happened. Even if they believed you, it still could have happened. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes fate is fate, isn't it? Yeah. You know, I'd like to think I could have made a change and helped that little girl, but it happened. And so they assured me. So I made a decision at that point as a medium. And I said, this is where I started working a lot with my guide, saying, this is how I want to work. I don't want to work that way. I don't want that kind of thing in my life. I just cannot handle it. So I kind of put a lot of restrictions around what I do. I learned different ways to bring information across. And so it was a learning curve for me. And
that's really interesting, though.
Yeah.
Do you think that then has molded your mediumship in a certain way so you don't get the tragedy?
Well, I still get tragedies, but I don't get it in a sense of it's such a bizarre job that we do. It really, really is. You know, and I've known times they've said to me, you know, on the 25th of September, you need to give this date to this person. It's going to have some significance. And I go, why is it a birthday? No, it's not an anniversary. It's not a birthday. Just give the date. So I've given a date to somebody. Then they've come back to me. Oh my God, that date you give me is the day my dad passed. Do you know what I mean? So I think they're a bit more kind of subtle in what they're giving to me, but trying to give them an awareness in a way that it's not going to shock them. Because if you think about it, you know, we're all learning, we're all on a journey. And I think this is very important for us all, is how we deliver things, you know, to people, to having the empathy, the compassion, making somebody feel good. You don't want them walking away feeling absolutely rubbish. So I learned a big, big, big lesson there. Because in those early days, I'm almost like, come on, bring it on, give me it all.
Yeah.
And so now I've obviously built through experience.
I found something I've never shared before, probably only with closest friends. When I first started to open, I realized how there was a lot more darkness than what I realized.
Yeah.
And I struggled with that. The people that I was reading for, but then there was that something within me that they were bringing up? I don't know, but I found there was a lot of darkness, so much more darkness around people than what I realized. And I said I didn't want that. But then I'm not sure if that stunted me a little bit, because life is life, isn't it?
Correct.
It's really hard. And I guess I remember another old medium said to me, you tell, I think I'm not going to name names, but it's very well known. And he said to me, you tell spirit how you want to work and they'll work with you. So the way you've just said it, I mean, I take my hat off to you. But yeah, I mean, I find it really difficult when you have, I struggle sometimes with suicides.
Yeah.
And there was one in particular recently where a young lady drowned her children, and she was 8 months pregnant and jumped off a multi-story car park. And she came through. That was really, really difficult. And that's difficult. And that just leaves that energy with you all day.
Correct. And to be quite honest with you, I probably find once a day, if it's through a private reading or from a demonstration, I will have at least one person that's taken their life, or there's some tragic instance that's happened. It's absolutely heartbreaking. It truly, truly is. I totally relate into what you're saying there, Paul.
Yeah, Rachel's made a good point as well. Just being devil's advocate, she says, do you think a medium should give all information as a reading should be uplifting? But for me, I would say, is there a danger in just being the channel and not, I mean, I've had some stuff come in and I've had to check where it's coming from, that really, frankly, is quite, you know, I think it's traumatic, and a part of me might stop that or affect that. So it can affect your mediumship, absolutely. Well, for me personally, but I don't know how you feel about that, Paul. It's a difficult one, isn't it?
I was always told to give what you've got.
Yeah.
You know, from my early days. I mean, I've had some development as well. So, you know, give what you've got. Give what you've got. You can only give what you've got. But I think it's a way you give it. You know. Yeah. You know, if you're seeing, like we've just spoken about, you know, if you're picking up somebody's loved one that's, you know, made a decision to go up there, I'm not going to say, you know, they're hanging there on a noose. You know, it's not how I'm going to say it to them. I would say something on the lines of, I've got this lovely person here who's unfortunately made their decision to leave this earth. And it was some form of an asphyxiation. So you're going to kind of put it in a way that's not giving that shock.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You're giving it with empathy, you're giving it with compassion. So I don't hide anything, but I will give it in a way that I feel now, as I've developed as a person, a more acceptable and more kind of loving way, rather than that to kind of sensationalize it. Oh, I've got somebody who's just been blown up to pieces. You know, gosh. It's going to be given in a way that, one, they're going to understand who that person is and how they've passed, but in a way that's not going to cause them some distress, because there's nothing worse than bringing somebody's wounds and reopening them. You know, so this has got to be done in love and it's got to be done in light. But to answer the question again, I wouldn't hide anything. If they have given me something, I will give it off, but I'll give it in a way that I feel is acceptable.
Yeah, empathic and tactful.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, agreed. Because Carol asked a question earlier. Hi, Carol. Do you think you're empathic, Paul? I would say so, wouldn't you? With feeling.
Absolutely. Yes. definitely.
Do you find, Paul, that you get emotional when giving messages? You actually, tear up as well?
Absolutely. I think the one time I had to stop a service, it was in Cleethorpes Spiritualist Church. I couldn't really see because it was the back row of the church, but there was a gentleman sat there, and I didn't even see there was a little girl sat next to him. And so I came to the gentleman and said, "Sir, I think I'm with you." When he went, "Right, okay." I says, "I'm seeing a little young lady that she jumped off the bed and she had her dressing gown cord attached to her. She ended up choking."
Yeah.
And he said, "That's my stepdaughter." And then, as I was giving the information, I think I got the young lady's name and some other bits and pieces. There was this little girl I didn't even see in the on. She was screaming. She was screaming and crying uncontrollably. And unknown to me, that was the young girl's sister. And that brought me to tears. That I had to stop the evening. I couldn't go on. I was just crying so much because I just felt so much love for that young lady. And then I thought to myself, at that time, it didn't feel appropriate. She should have been there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I know the spiritualists allow children in, but given the facts of what's happening in their family, and to bring through that information, maybe the young man should have said, "Can you speak to me later?"
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I guess it was down to his own personal responsibilities. But to see that young girl crying in that way, it really did upset me.
Yeah.
And there's been a few other occasions where, yes, I've had tears and I've had to stop. I do get very emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is difficult. It is difficult. There is like I said earlier, there is that energy you kind of lose with the emotion of the contact. Yeah, it can be quite draining. But we've got loads and loads of questions, but we are running out of time. I could sit here and talk to you for hours, Paul, because it's been so interesting. Like, talking about the mechanics of mediumship, there's so much to talk about and enjoy as well. And if you're developing medium, this, we the guys that we interview give out some great tips. Is there anything you would have done differently, though, Paul, in your own journey?
Wow, what I would have done differently. Do you know,
it's a tough one, isn't it? Because I always think
it is a tough one because I've been so blessed and so lucky, and I've enjoyed every single moment of this journey. Apart from that one time I did mention where I wanted to stop, and then I realised that I do need to be doing this work. I don't think I'd have changed anything, because everything that's happened through my life has brought me to where I am now, and I'm grateful even for the badness that has happened, the bad things, the negative things, because I've learned something from that, So I wouldn't really change anything, because I think it'd change who I am right now.
Yeah.
I think everything was meant to be as it was meant to be, Yeah. And maybe I would have a bit more wrinkle cream or something when I was younger. I don't know.
Yeah, a couple of quickly, because we're running out of time quickly. Have you ever worked for the police? And have you ever had someone come through that's been murdered, that's coming in from Rhondda?
Okay, two very good questions. I have indirectly worked with the police. I've read for many of them, and I've read for the one of the chief superintendents as well. And I can't really talk about what was said as such, but information was passed on to her from a previous reading, which she did use to help get somebody. Okay, I can't really say anything else about it, but there was a process. I mean, she couldn't use my words in evidence, but it pointed in the right direction. Let's just say that. But I have been fortunate to read for many, many police officers. Yeah.
Excellent.
Was there a two-part question there? Oh, about murder, something to do with murders. Have I seen murders? Many, many murders. I think the one that sticks out into my mind, again, I want to be very careful in what I'm saying, but there was a person, I don't want to say male or female, was in my house, and a gentleman came down from the spirit world and said, "Can you please tell the person that sat on my sofa, I forgive them for what they did to me?" And I gave that information to that person, and I'm starting to get a bit frightened, thinking, what's going off here? That person turned around and said, "That's why I'm in your house, because I feel like I'm being haunted by this man. I planned his murder." That's what they told me. I planned his murder. I've done my time. I planned his murder. It was a mistaken identity that tied him to his chair and set fire to the house. He came down, and this just shows, again, how much compassion is up there.
Yeah.
He came down from the spirit world and said, please tell that person I forgive them, and so they can have some peace. I just thought that was so...
Yeah.
Oh. But yes, I've seen many murders, many of them.
I'll say so beautiful in a way in terms of the accuracy of that link.
Yeah.
And it was, I mean, to sit there, and this is, it wasn't about giving any tips and things to people. There's one thing I've learned as a medium on this journey is to trust. That's the biggest thing, is to trust. I've seen so many times when I've taught people as well, they sit there with things in their thoughts or things they've picked up and they don't give it off. Yeah. And then they sit there kicking and screaming at the end thinking, oh my, I knew, and they've not said anything. And I find I'd rather say something and be wrong and say something and being so right and miss an opportunity. Absolutely. Yeah. So my big advice to anybody is to trust your instinct, and to meditate as well is good. To meditate and to get those links, get those stronger links. And I think if I've got time for a quick example on trusting.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's quite relevant, and it's
we don't mind guys running over. We don't mind.
Just a quick example on trusting. There was a brother and sister who came for a reading. I'll keep it very quick. The mother came through. It was a lovely reading, and right at the very end, I said to them, "Oh, is there some like ornaments of sea lions in your house? Because your mum's shown it to me." And they went, "No." I thought, "Oh God." Again, one of those moments like, your dad's called David moments. I'm thinking, just this wonderful reading. And I'm saying this about these sea lions. I says, I keep seeing like images of sea lions and stuff. They went, "Oh no, I don't know what you're talking about." I went, well, and then I thought to myself, Paul, go back to what you've taught people. Trust. I said, this is exactly what I saw. I saw an image of your mother and you guys at Donanock. You ever heard of Donanock before?
No.
Okay, Donanock it's close to where I live, and it's like a shoreline, and all the seals come in to mate and to have their pops, and there's hundreds and hundreds of them at Donanock, and everybody goes there to go see them and take photographs, etc. And I says, that's what I'm seeing, is you and your mother at Donanock. And this young man went, oh my God, Paul. My last memory is taking my mum to Donanock in her wheelchair. That was the last time I ever saw her. So really what I say is trust what you're seeing, trust what you're feeling, because they know what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
They do.
Yeah.
Bless you all.
It's always us that gets in the way. 100%.
Indeed.
Yeah. Paul, we can't thank you enough for being
Pleasure.
Here tonight. We really appreciate it. But what's next for you?
Oh, crikey. Well, at the moment, I've been involved in a bit of filming. We were supposed to be going on Sky, but unfortunately, the agent that we was dealing with, unfortunately, she took her own life through lockdown. So we got another agent. So we're doing some filming for a paranormal TV show.
Yeah,
and I'm the medium on it, and it's called Spirit Watchers. So I've just created a Facebook page. If you look for me, Paul Humpries on Facebook, you will see on my wall links to the new Facebook page, which is Spirit Watching, some trailers and things like that on it. So that's actually going to be put out to the public on YouTube to start off with. Then in the future, we're hoping to get on Netflix. So fingers crossed.
Oh, yeah. We'll check that out. I'm just putting your link to your website as well just below on the banner, so everyone can see that. Give Paul a look. I've had a quick look at your website. It's quite interesting, Paul. Definitely worth a look, guys.
Oh, it needs updating. That's my daughter's job, that one.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. Bless her.
Can we give your daughter a give her a shout? What's her name?
Natalie.
Hi, Natalie.
My son's Matthew, and also Sophie, my other daughter.
Awesome. Yeah. Paul, it's been absolutely fantastic. We're now going to go into messages. So you're welcome to stay, but I know we never ask our hosts to give a message unless they want to, but we never ask.
Well, I do feel like I need to pop off because I've got to go to the toilet. I need my tea. So.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. No problem.
Thanks ever so much,
Paul. Absolute pleasure. And I'd love to come on again in the future.
Yeah,
please do. Yeah.
Perfect.
All right.
Thanks a
All
lot.
the best, guys. God bless.
Well,
Thank you.
bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Awesome.
Well, that was great, wasn't it?
It was really good and insightful, and what a nice guy as well. And sharing some of his experiences, it's been really interesting. So it's do you know what we forgot to do?
Pick a
guest.
guest. Well, yeah, get a guest to pick.
It's your turn this week, mate, so I'll pick for you. How's that? So, guys, I'm just going to put the link into. Mate, you'd need to go first, really. I hogged it all last week, didn't I?
Yeah. Oh, you remembered.
Oh, don't worry, I remembered. Yeah. Here we go. I'm putting the link in. So if any of you guys link with Anthony's message, come on in. It's lovely to hear your voice. And it gives us the opportunity to go in a little bit deeper with the contact as well.
Yeah.
Your loved one.
And after listening to Paul, we sort of understand
that.
It
inspires us to, He set the mantle as well, mate. No pressure.
Yeah. Great. Okay. First things first, as sitting here, just actually getting into gear after listening to that. I have got a lady who's making herself aware of me. And I do feel straight away, without even having to use any kind of understanding, I know, not I think, or feel, I know that this lady would have passed of some kind of heart condition. Whether it's heart attack or many forms of heart complaints over a longer period of time, I still feel that with this lady, she still would have passed of a heart issue or heart problem. I do feel a lot of love with this lady. Not only is she a very kind, loving, open soul with she's heartfelt as well. I'm getting the name and the flower of rose with this lady as well as she comes in, and she's showing me a red rose as well, not a pink or a yellow one. It does come in here as well. I am actually feeling this is quite more symbolic, as I do feel that she's making me aware of the thorns now more than the actual petals of the rose. She's drawing me in. I do feel there's this lady is wanting to talk to a lady that's listening in tonight, and she's making me aware of these thorns, which is really interesting. I've not had this in a reading before. It's pulled me in to say beware of the like as a warning, or be aware of something or someone who's prickly or who's causing damage or can cause damage around you. And it feels more of a message symbolically from this lady in spirit as well. I am getting the name. I know Paul mentioned his daughter's called Sophie, but I am getting a Sophie as well. I can't make that change that. That's what's coming in as well. And I do feel with this lady that she makes me feel that she helped everyone. I just feel that I'm very open and very caring. I do feel there's a connection with charity with this lady as well, whether she gave her time as charity or gave items or money or collective things to charity as well. And I do feel that this lady would have belonged to a club if it's not a charity, or something like WI I'm getting as well. I'm getting WI with this lady, and there's connections towards a group of ladies as well. Can anyone take this lady at all so far? I do feel that she wishes to make me aware that she is talking to a lady who's listening in tonight on the show. And I also feel that there's something to do with something as a warning why I'm getting drawn to these thorns on this particular rose as well. As she does come in, I do feel there's grandchildren around this lady that she's making me aware of. And she's making me aware of two grandchildren as well, who would be on the earth plane that she's making me aware of. She's making me aware of one of the grandchildren is a boy. And the boy is she's given me the number 8. So whether this is 8 years of age or living in number 8, that kind of understanding. But I do feel that this boy is worrying. He's got a lot on his mind. He's got a lot of stress in his mind, and I do feel that this boy that she's referring to, her grandson, it's to do with school. It's worrying or to do with school or his school work or that kind of description as well. And she is making me aware that her grandson would walk home from school, whether he's with another parent or another friend. I do feel that this grandson is walking home, so it's in close proximity to the home where the school is as well. No one so far can take this lovely lady.
Keep going, mate. You're doing really well. Keep going.
Okay, and I also feel that she's making me aware of sandwiches. She's showing me sandwiches, this lady as well. Whether this was something between her and her grandchildren, giving them food when they met up as well. And I do feel she's also mentioning the summer holidays. I know that the children are broken up now from school, but I do feel she's referring to a memory link with the grandchildren within the end of term times at school. So when they're off school, I do feel there's whether she looked after them or a connection with the grandchild or grandchildren around the school holiday periods as well. I'm also feeling a connection towards swimming as well coming in. So whether these children or grandchildren are learning to swim or they're having swimming lessons, because I'm seeing she's putting in my head a swimming pool with lanes, like lanes in a swimming pool as well. Whether they're lanes or width lanes, I'm seeing that as well. And I'm getting the smell of chlorine with this lady as well. So she's bringing in the smell of chlorine with water as well. I also feel this lady is a very, the lady in spirit who's with me, when she was physically alive, I do feel she was very organized, very tidy, very clean lady as well. She's taken the smell of chlorine and putting the smell of cleaning materials into my nose as well. So I feel like I'm scrubbing that and cleaning everything in the house. I feel that she's a real cleaning, clean lady as well. A bit OCD I'm feeling with this lady. Everything has to be literally no marks anywhere, no blemishes anywhere. Everything is absolutely cleaned to perfection. And I also feel the house, as she's shown me her house, it looks like a show house. It's absolutely immaculate as well. In there as well. No one can take this lady so far.
Yeah, I just wanted our people. We lost connection, guys. We've had no comments, no nothing. Is anybody there? Also, StreamYard link is there if you know or recognise this lady. Some of the evidence that Anthony's been giving. Is she? Yeah. What is she to the person, mate? Did you say?
I feel this is mother to someone listening in on here as well. Okay, so we have got people.
Yes, but I'm sorry, Facebook user. Let us know who you are and do you understand who this is?
And is that yes because Paul said, is anyone out there? No worry, Lee. No worries, Lee. I feel it's more for a lady who's listening in tonight anyway, so that's absolutely fine. Rhonda, can you see and hear? Yeah. No, it's fine. Our connection's fine. Okay. Absolutely fine. I'm still going to go with it. She has given me Domino's. Now, whether this is Domino's pizza or it's actually Domino's, she's like black Domino's with white spots on it as well. And I feel this is a connection with the family who would have played Domino's as well. It's not one domino, it's a whole set.
So Summer might be able to take this. Summer, mother's friends. Yes, I understand. This is Summer Breeze. Hi, Summer.
Brilliant. Friend's mother. Yes, I understand. Okay, brilliant. Excellent. Where is she from? Which country? Now, I feel this is England, Jenna. I don't feel this is a foreign lady. She's coming in as a white British lady as she comes in. I don't and I don't get a foreign feeling or a foreign understanding with the way she's talking to me. I do feel this is a British lady coming in there as well. So I hope that helps as well. As she comes in, I do feel that this lady relatively had good eyesight as she comes in as well. I don't feel this. I don't feel I want to put glasses. I don't feel I feel or even see like I'm looking through a glass with this lady. I do feel she's got sharp vision, sharp mind as well. She is saying that she got slightly more forgetful towards her latter part of her age. And I do feel that this lady would have had quite a lengthy period of her life. I do feel that she made old bones. She's given me the understanding of as well. I am also getting, mine is USA. What's that? What? I'm sorry.
That's because she keeps coming up with Facebook user. So she.
Oh, I see. Right. Okay. Right. Okay, yeah, and I also feel this lady's bringing in different forms of games as well. I want to lighten the mood. I do feel there's an understanding that there's a lot of stress and anxiety around members of the family she's talking about. She did mention her grandson particularly, and I do feel there's another granddaughter as well. I feel that the granddaughter is slightly older by only 2-3 years difference as well. So there's a lot of information coming in there as well. I am getting different games this lady's bringing in. She's bringing board games, dominoes, which was mentioned earlier, card games, loads of stuff. And I am getting drawn around the Christmas period as well with this lady. So whether the games are around the Christmas period, that does make me feel that's the case. And I also want to play for like little pennies and matchsticks and things like that as well. She's bringing this information in. Lots of information coming in. Only some of you can take this so far. If anyone can give us some comments and some feedback, that would be fabulous with this lady, with all this information she's given. She's literally talking and talking, and I can keep talking, but someone needs to say something to me. Absolutely fine. I do feel also there's a gentleman she's referring to who's in the physical world, who's either changed jobs or waiting between jobs, either changing jobs or is in between jobs, and she's put a suit on this man. I feel this is a younger man as well that she's talking about. Sounds lovely. Such a shame. Yeah, I know, Sean. I know. Okay, and she's putting a suit on this younger man. I do feel he's sort of. Yeah, I do feel he's early 20s as well, and I feel that he's come out of education or university, college, that kind of thing as well. And he did have a part-time job, but he's now going into either another part-time job or a full-time job as well. And I feel that this is either an interview or getting the job and wearing a suit as well. Lots of information. Shame that no one can take it. I might have to pass it over to you, Paul.
Okay, mate. Okay, if you can take it, or it's always nice to know, because sometimes I think there was another lady that could connect with your contact last week. It came on later on in the week. So just let us know, guys. It's lovely to send their messages on. All evidence works, yes, but the guy job change, yes, all evidence works, yes to the guy job change. So maybe that is for that lady. Maybe that is for someone.
Okay.
All right, so I've got a lady here. I know full well she is mum. She is very she needs to get a message through. I know I feel like I'm talking to Zoe, I have an ankle rose, but I don't think it's for me. Not to worry, mate. I'm gonna let you take over the control.
No worries.
You look out for the messages. Also, guys, look out. I'm just gonna put this up as well so we can see this in here. Okay, I know I've got a lady. We've got load behind me. I don't know if you can look in and feel that. I'll feel into my cabin. Really feel I know there's
quite a few of them.
I know there's a lady there that's coming. She's just sat behind me. I can even feel she used to get quite hot and clammy as well with her skin. I know this lady passed with cancer. I know she's trying to get a message to her daughter. I know there's a lot of urgency around her daughter because her daughter's working so hard at the moment. I also feel her daughter's not very well as well. Or not that she's not very well, but she's not coping. Okay, and I real sense of strong connection with this lady. She's also there was a problem with her wrist at some point, or her hand. I'm not sure whether that was bandaged, but she's making me feel there's a problem with one of her arms, or it's the person her daughter she's talking about. There's a problem with the wrist as well. She makes me disorientated as well as she comes in. She would have been quite disorientated towards the end, and forgive me for bringing it up as a memory, but it's part of the evidence they're trying to give me. I know that she's here. I also know as the grandson Jack. It feels like the name Jack. If I've got it slightly wrong, I do apologize, but the grandson Jack as well also connects to a Brian as well. She's making me aware of, and again, this dizziness and feeling. I also know she used to smoke, and I feel she had to give that up much to her annoyance. I also know the J. She's trying to give me the J. I'm not sure if that's a Julie. She also gave me so many different names. I don't want to go overkill with the names, but do you anybody understand Mum in spirit? I know she would have passed with cancer. I do feel she's been over there for at least 5 or 6 years. I know she's been in spirit for a while, but she would have had carried a little bit of weight as well with her. She's also making me aware the smell she had around her before she passed, it wasn't particularly pleasant. You could smell the cancer around her as well. I also know that I feel the daughter used to help her. There was one, no, there's more than one daughter as well she's making me aware of. She's also showing me she would have helped her with water, sipping water from a glass with a straw. They also would have dabbed her brow as well. I also feel with this lady, she's making me aware there were some adaptations to her home and the bed as well. Where's the men at? It's all women. Okay. And I know this lady is making me aware of the daughter that is particularly, she needs to get through to her tonight. Really frustrated. I know she's listening, but not listening, because I don't know why we're not getting any connections tonight. Possibly me. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Rhonda's just booked a reading with me. So we're just going to keep going. Would you also understand her being unsteady on her legs towards the end? Would you also understand the cancer that she passed from, Rhonda? If you understand all this information, can you come in, please? That'll be awesome to hear your. Also, she gave me the name David, also the name Brian that connects. There's also, I know there's a July birthday, but I'm not sure who that connects into. My mum's Jenny, husband Brian, cancer. I'm daughter, dizzy, hard work, cut thumb, bandage up. Debbie, I brought your mum through last week. I feel like if your mum's infatuated, I'm not sure whether she just loves coming on the show. I don't know. I'm not sure, Debbie. I'm just going to keep going with the evidence. Would you understand the Jack? The Jack as well. Lorraine Smith, yes. Rhonda, yes. My son Jack. Oh, yes. The grandson Jack, she said to me. Thank you. I can relate to lots of this, but I'm her son, not daughter. Okay, Peter, I really, how can I say this? Like what Paul was saying, I trust in what this lady is saying to me. Jack's birthday in July. I know she would have adored this young man, because I do feel like, forgive me for saying it, he was a favourite or one of the favourites. I only don't understand Jack. Okay, really strong with the Jack, Marie. So I'm sorry if that rules you out. I'm just going to keep going. But Jack and the love for Jack is really important. And would you understand helping this lady at the end? They never met. Okay. I don't know why then. She's making me feel like he was a favourite. So, or someone around has made him favourite. So whether Steph can agree with that, I don't know. Whether that's you, Rhonda, I'm just going to keep going. If you can jump in, that's absolutely fine. Or if anybody else can take all of this, because the Luke, July. Okay. Yes. Husband, David, son, birthday, Luke. Oh my gosh. That is, maybe it is you then, Debbie. Debbie, can I persuade you to come on Spiritual Talk?
Yeah.
Come on. We'd love to see you on Spiritual Talk. She's also talking about the hand. Rhonda, this is important. The hand or the arm that's bandaged, the wrist, sorry. I think maybe Debbie. Okay, Rhonda. Do you understand the Jack? But the love for Jack is so strong. So strong. Luke, favourite grandson. Jack, my granddad. Okay. That's throwing me a bit. Okay, do you want to come in then, Debbie? I'd love to see you come in. If not, I'm going to give her love to you. She's coming in at this time because I know you're overworking, you're over committing, you're doing so much that you kind of get going into a tailspin a little bit. It's not a criticism. She's just concerned. I know this lady came in last week because she connected to me last week. Very similar. She's got a very similar energy. It's your mum. I don't know how to. If you just click on the ducks, that will bring you straight in. It should just bring you straight into the studio. And we know your energy will be fantastic in Spiritual Talk. So I've just pressed it up on the comments. If you just touch that, if you're coming through on your iPad or laptop, you should just be able to click. Where are they? Can you see it now? I've just put it into the comments. Yes, I add. Okay. All right. Also, it's Dave. Who works with wood then? Who loves the wood, working with wood as well? She's making me aware the gentleman who loves to work with wood and create things. I know David's quite handy, but I don't know about the wood. She's talking about being handy and repairing things. I also believe there's a door frame that's been a problem recently as well. And adjusting the door frame, the door doesn't fit properly, it's squeaking. David, okay, the door doesn't fit properly, it's squeaking or getting stuck as well. I'm also aware of movement. Sorry, David, if you're listening to this. I'm also aware of movement around the house in the evening. And I believe this is your mum. I do believe this is your mum giving me this information. She's the one that's poking around your house and looking at your cushions and comparing your curtains. And in a loving way, but I know she would advise you on your home furnishings. Would you understand that? She would have had, I know she would have been very supportive. But okay, yes. It's a shame you can't go in. I'm going to leave her love with you, Deb, because we love to get people in and hear their voices, because we can go. Yes, active in the house since she passed. Okay. She just sends all her love to you. And quite abruptly, she's telling you not to do so much. So please take this information, please, from her. And we'll let her go. Okay, mate, over to you.
Okay. Right. I've got a gentleman who's coming, and all I can see, without being too disrespectful, is bottles of pills. They look like those ones that with the cap that you have to turn it on tight to get them off, and it clicks every time you over tighten it, and it keeps click, click, and that's what I can hear the most is this clicking. It just makes me feel that I do feel this man would have had pills, but then at the same time, he's also given me an understanding about someone who's connected to this man, who is also on some kind of medication. But I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to make out that I am. But it does feel that it's his antidepressant, that kind of feeling with the person that he's given me an understanding for. It's either that or it's his tablets that he was on. But he's given me this understanding about these tablets. I can't see anything else apart from that. I do feel this man was not a small man. I do feel that he's a quite thick-set man. And I do feel that this gentleman would have either worked with his hands or he was a tradesman of some kind of description. I do feel as this gentleman's coming close to me that he's got a fascination not only with different types of sport as well. I feel I either went to sporting venues and watched particular sports, but I also feel that this man would have played sports as well. I'm getting drawn to football, rugby, that kind of sport. And I also feel that this man's hands are just really, really rough. My hands suddenly feel like my hands are like sawdust, like sandpaper. So I do feel that kind of understanding is what this man would have done in his working life. I do feel also this man is putting a pint of beer in my hand as well. I do feel that he's a proper man's man. I do feel that I've got connections with letting my hair down. I just heard in sort of like an environment where I'm not an alcoholic. I just feel that I want to have let my hair down at the end of the week kind of thing as well. So he's making me aware of lager, bitter, that kind of drink as well. And he's just shouted out adnams in my head as well. So whether that's a form of bitter, I believe. As he comes in as well, I'm seeing a dartboard as well, so I'm throwing darts as well. He's giving me that kind of understanding, and I just feel that this man went really quick. I just feel that he went to spirit really quick, even though he's given me these tablets. I don't feel this is what's contributed to his passing. I just believe this was a secondary situation. But he comes in. I do feel. He's quite loud when he speaks. The sound of his voice is quite loud. So quite a deep sounding gentleman's voice as well with this man. And he's making me. Hi, Christine. It's making me aware also of a particular T-shirt that he's wearing, which is really interesting. But it feels like it's got holes in it, like it's rough. Like it's it's his favorite T-shirt. I don't want to throw it away or something. It's giving me that understanding, and it makes me feel that I want to wear this T-shirt nearly all the time. And it's really interesting that he shows me that as well. I am seeing construction as well with this man. I am seeing diggers, cranes, that kind of thing, and I'm seeing piles of whether it's sand or cement or stuff like that as well, and shovels and things. And I do feel that this man would have either worked with someone else from time to time, not only on his own. I do feel that I'm with, whether he's calling it a band of brothers, band of men, that kind of thing as well. Not all the time, but every now and then, depending on the job, which would be different as well. I am getting also vehicles with this man. So whether he had a fleet of vehicles or he had his own business, I also see different vehicles with him as well, and an interest in cars, motor vehicles outside of work as well. Sarah. Yeah, it definitely is a holy t-shirt.
You've just been outed, Lee, live on Spiritual Talk.
And yeah, so if anyone can take this man, that would be absolutely fantastic. Coming in with this energy as well. He was also making me aware of a lady that he's making me aware of with the skin complaint. I feel this is like a skin complaint as well. So it's just giving me an understanding about skin with like a skin complaint. I'm not getting a type of skin complaint. But that kind of concept is what he's bringing in as well. And he's making me aware of cream as well, like going to doctors or something, or rubbing some kind of ointment on as well. He's giving me that as an understanding as well. Anyone can take this man. No one can take the last link either.
Mate, what is going on?
I don't know. I think I'll give up.
Do not give up. Okay, Anthony, we've seen you week on week on week giving and demonstrating great messages, mate. It always happens. There's also a slight responsibility to those who you might have 50 people online, say, but the person that they're trying to connect with, they might be watching telly and watching.
Yeah, absolutely.
It can happen. Sounds like my granddad.
Oh, Christine.
Okay. So, and it's interesting. She just come in as well. You've just come in, Christine, haven't you? So, okay,
Christine. Can you, if this man is for yourself, I don't feel really, really old. I know my understanding of really old would be like 80 odd, 90 odd. I just feel this man would have passed sort of early 70s. I'm feeling. But I just feel this man's not an old man. Even if he's old by birth, he doesn't come across as old. He reminds me of my dad in a way. He comes over as a young person, but in an older body, if that makes sense as well. And I do feel this man would have had some kind of cheeky sense of humor as well, because he had a proper laugh to him, he's saying. And I'm feeling the laugh as well, not just hearing it. It's like a proper man's laugh, like an echoing kind of laugh. He's laughing through me. It feels like my heart's vibrating inside my own chest, because is that picture, Christine, of him in that photograph?
No, that's her partner.
Oh, is it? Okay, sorry about that. It just makes me it's very similar eyes in that photograph. Absolutely fine.
My daughter uses cream.
Okay, and you would understand the cream is for a skin complaint.
Yeah,
as well on her arm. Brilliant. We're getting somewhere.
Yeah,
absolutely fine. It just makes me feel it's like a skin complaint. I'm not getting the type of problem it is as well. But it makes, if I was to guess, which I'm not, it looks like a rash or something. That kind of thing as well. But he's saying, mention the cream. He's aware of the skin complaint as well. And can you understand also the t-shirt as well? This t-shirt, it's got a logo or some kind of motif across the front as well, across the chest or stomach area of this t-shirt. I feel it's like either like off-white, or maybe it's been bleached in the washing, or with putting in with colors or something, because it looks like it's off-white. It may have been white when he bought it as well. And loads of different kinds of sport as well. He's given me the connection with as well, especially darts, football, rugby, that kind of thing, and going to different stadia in the past as well. I just feel this man's a proper man's man. And I just feel that he's just got a really good sense of humor, and he's just coming through with barrels of laugh, to be honest, and saying that I'm absolutely fine. I don't feel this man would have believed in the spirit world, but I do feel that he's got an open mind, and he's really, really conscientious is the word as well. Okay, yeah. That's absolutely fine.
I understand. Awesome. She says hang.
I'm going to leave that with you, Christine. Thanks ever so much.
Does hang mean, is that a slang word for hold on?
Possibly.
Went to a social club.
It could mean something else.
Bad. Okay, I've got one more connection. Have we got time, guys? Did you want one more connection? It's all gone quiet. One more. Yes, it is. Okay. Yes, Christine's put yes. Okay, I've got a gentleman here. I know his dad because he just said his dad. Thanks, guys. And is straight talking, no nonsense, and would say a spade is a spade. Okay, everyone's saying yes. Thanks, guys. I know his dad. He's also given me the April birthday. He's given me two names as well, the John and the David that connect to him. And he says, you know, you're listening. Don't be shy. And I also feel a strong voice with him, a deep, strong voice. He would have had a deep voice. Not particularly a large man, but a large presence with him. Okay. Anybody understand this? Because that's all he's given me. Standing behind me, he's quite upright. He's quite strong. I know the name David and John connect to him. And he just says, I am dad and I need to speak and I need to give a message. And he's being forthright and he's not saying anything else. Also, I also do know he would have liked a cup of tea. And I do feel a cup of tea, sit down, have a chat, talk about your problems. Okay. I also know there's an accent with this gentleman as well. He's also given me the April birthday as well. My brother was called David John. Oh, geez. Okay. But I know he would have been a father as well, though, Carol. Does this make sense? Because he's making me aware that he was a dad and he loved tea. But again, with the tea, he makes me aware that sitting down, he was a proper man's man as well.
Another one.
Your brother. Proper man's man, proper strong-minded, no nonsense. Said his, I know. Okay, thank you. Granddad. Okay, fine. Hi, it's Paul's dad. Yeah, quite possibly. I've never known. I've got to say, I've never known a gentleman to come through so strong to me. And right now, he's standing behind me. If you can see anything, guys, I'd like to know. He's standing just over my left shoulder here. He is just saying, I am dad. I am here. I need to give a message. Okay, possibly my dad. His cousin's David, dad. Loved a cuppa. I also know this gentleman had slight heart problems. There was problems within his shoulder that he ignored, and I believed it was to do with his lungs and his heart. But he ignored He ignored the problems with the shoulder. Do you understand the April birthday? Father Clive, David John, his son David John, my father-in-law. Okay, I'm going to keep going. Really strong, this gentleman really wants to connect in. If you understand this, guys, I want you to jump on because I really want to give you so much this gentleman is trying to say. Okay, I'm going to cut and paste the link one more time. Bear with me and I'll go back with this gentleman. Yes, April birthday, many in April. Would you understand the number 22 that connects to him as well? Because he gave me that a little bit earlier. My dad, Paul Cook, it could be you. I'm not sure. Would you understand you're smelling dad though at the moment around you? You're feeling his presence. I am being drawn more towards Paul Cook. And I know dad is no nonsense, but there's a lot of fear going on at the moment. This is why he's come through. He needs to let everyone know what's happening. He needs to reassure everybody. He needs to help certain people. I know there's a lot of sickness around. I know Lou. Okay, yes, my dad John. Yeah, that was the first name I got in my head was John, and I got dad, and then I got the David. Okay, because I write it down because Anthony was talking, and I write it down. Here's how he said it: Dad, John, David. Okay, and he just stood there. I'm not going until I give this message, and he's trying. Okay, Paul's jumping on. Okay, great. We got Paul. Hi guys.
Hi Paul.
Hi guys.
You all right?
Yeah, really good. So this gentleman is strong-minded, forthright, absolutely determined to get this through. But you know what? Now he's got you here. He wants you to make him a cup of tea because I can feel it. Okay, mate, we're going to have a chat and we're going to sort everything out. And I know that everything would have been dealt with over a cup of tea. There's a lot of emotional outpouring. Is also making me aware there's been some honest conversations going on recently. Honest conversations. He said, you're doing the right thing. There was something you discussed at the weekend is the right thing. Do you understand this?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Okay. Also, do you understand the shoulder problem that he was ignoring? What was connected to his heart?
Yes.
But okay. Also, again, I keep hearing this in a very matter of fact way. I know this is for you. I love you, boy. I love you.
Oh.
All right. It's quite emotional because it's making me feel really heartfelt as he says it. All right. It's right now. You need this more than anything. And he says, sorry. And he said, actually, okay, thank you. There was something, he was given something in March. There's something going on. Was there a March? I'm not sure if it's a wedding anniversary or a birthday, but it's taking me back to March. But this March just gone. Do you understand this connecting with Dad? This March, something happened. It was connected to Dad. There was something really significant that brought him up. I'll hold on to that. Just hold on to that for a minute. Also, you're going to get some funny things happen. I mean, requests. You're going to have some funny requests coming from a loved one. Okay, unusual things. Can you just go with it?
Okay.
Just go with it. Also, I am going to say it. Forgive me for saying this live on air, but he says cancer's a bastard.
Yeah.
It's a bastard. He says, but I do feel this, but it's like it's really weird how he's giving me this information, but it's like he's breaking through. It's almost insignificant. I know it's not, but that's how he's giving me this. It's like it's going to be okay. That's only I can't even put it into words how he's expressing this. Okay. Also, have you been getting some poetry, inspiration of poetry as well, or looking at poems? Someone's been looking at the service and poems, and there's been some inspiration with service and poems. Do you understand this?
Not really, not poem. No.
Okay, he's talking about someone planning the service, and I feel it's been planned already. But there is going to be a slight change to the service. There's going to be a change, and I feel it's going to come from you. Both of you are going to feel it, and there's going to be a slight change to it, but with blessing. Okay, it comes with blessing. Also, do you know the William in spirit he's given me as well? The William that connects the family?
Yeah, it's his dad,
Okay, because he's making me aware of the William. Okay.
Yeah, his dad, his middle name.
Yeah.
And the George as well over there. The George is over there. I feel it's connected to the William or the Bill.
Right,
the William and the George.
I think we're doing that.
It sounds like there's an L. He's trying to give me another L. The Linda or the L is trying to give me a different name. Or Lydia. It's like a Linda or Lydia. Do you understand this?
Can't think of that either.
You just hold on to that.
Yeah.
And blue flowers. Blue flowers, like blue purpley flowers. Do you understand this? Why he's giving it a significant blue purpley flowers, small blue purpley flowers, like a jasmine. It's the only way I can describe it.
Could be in my mum's garden.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, the number 22 as well. He keeps trying to give me 22.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. This is definitely your dad. This is definitely for you. Okay. Also, your wife deserves a crown. I don't know why he said a crown. I don't know, but she deserves a lot. Okay. I want to leave his love with you. I also, he's just saying, don't be afraid. All right.
Okay.
Right. So I'm going to leave his love with you, mate. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks for accepting this link. All right.
Thank you.
I've never known someone to be so. I'm going to get this message through. And if you
I know he's determined.
He's like, by the collar. Now look here, young man.
I needed to hear as well tonight.
He really is. He's like a thunderbolt. Lots of strength. I know there's a lot of stuff going on for you guys, but lots of love coming in from the spirit world.
Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thanks for coming on. We'll speak to you soon.
Okay.
Thank you. Oh, while
You
you're
guys-
here,
Yeah.
can you see the comments?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can choose someone for us.
Yeah, can you choose someone for Anthony?
Before. Go on then. Who you want? Go on.
Zoe Toombs.
Zoe Teams. Lovely. Zoe, congratulations. You've got Anthony.
Congratulations, Zoe.
Yeah, awesome.
Zoe had one before, didn't she? A few
From
weeks
me.
ago.
Yeah, from me. Yeah, it was really good. Really good. Really enjoyed that one. Be interesting to see how you get on. Well, thanks everybody for watching. Thanks everybody. I mean, you can stay there, guys, if you want. We're just about to finish.
You can wave as well, Paul.
Yeah, we can wave. Yeah. So, thanks for joining us, everyone, and we'll see you next week with another great guest.
Take care,
Thanks,
everyone. See you next
Bye.
week.
Bye.
Bye.